Hi everybody, my name is Rachel and this is UltraHuman, and today I'm going to help you be your best human by talking about 3 commonly held misconceptions about time. These are things that I have at one point in my life also believed, so I'm not trying to call anybody out, but I'm going to try and break down some of the things that I have learned about these very common misconceptions and things that we are believing about time that are really not serving us well and setting us up for failure. And I would really love to see everybody out there be able to use all of your gifts to the best of your abilities and really utilize time in order to accomplish a great life, whatever that means for you. So the very first one is actually the concept of time management is really a misnomer. And I think that because we think in things of terms of time management instead of self-management, that we're shifting the responsibility that like, oh, time flies, we have all these little sayings and things. And so we're not thinking about really trying to discipline ourselves in order to like get things done. And so in our last video where we talked about the 3 archaic tools that help us manage our time, we talked about wristwatches, we talked about wall calendars, and we talked about checklists. And these things, I think, are ways that we manage ourselves in order to better manage the time that we all have. We all have the same amount of time. We all have the same framework to work in. Use these tools in order to manage ourselves. We're going to see much better results in terms of time management. So the next one is something that we have all heard, and I know it has come out of every one of our mouths, and I want to encourage you to never say these words again. I'm too busy. That's just not a thing. And I know that you're saying like, but I really am too busy. I've got way too many things that I have to get done, and I'm running around every day, and I really have to do all the things that I'm doing. We all have lots of things to do. I know that we can all get caught up in feeling very busy very quickly and easily. And so I want to tell a story that was something that happened the other day where my fiance was talking about how he didn't have time to practice guitar, and he didn't really have the time to put into being in a band the way that he has always really wanted to have a group of friends where they could perform shows and things like that. And he kept using words like, I have to go to school, I have to support my family, I have to take care of the kids, I have to get dinner done at a certain time. And I had to stop him, and I was like, listen, you don't actually have to do any of those things. And he was like, what do you mean? I was like, if you really wanted to, you could go get in the car or jump on a bus and go to LA or San Francisco or wherever. You could abandon your family, you could just pick up your guitar, and you could go find some people, you could go start a band, and you could do whatever you wanted. But you've decided that your family is your number 1 priority. You've decided that right now in your life, you want to be here in order to have a relationship with your children, in order to try and have a better financial future. You're pursuing a degree. You're doing these things because you essentially want to do them. Sometimes we trick ourselves into the idea that we have to do things. You don't have to do anything. Reframe things in that idea. You're not too busy. So if a friend calls you up and says, you know, I really want to go to this concert, and the reason's not that you don't have the money, it's not that you don't have whatever, it's you just don't have the time in your schedule because you have priorities that come before doing whatever that thing is. And reframe your life in that way. And I think that it helps us also to realize that like, actually maybe my number 1 priority isn't having all the chores done by Saturday evening if I haven't seen a good friend that's in town that I haven't seen in a few weeks or months or a year. Maybe you push everything to the side, because actually when you're thinking in terms of priorities and not just busyness and getting caught up in whatever is happening to us, but rather happening to our schedule and deciding what the priorities are, you might find that actually you have some things that are values to you, things that you are prioritized, that you haven't been giving the energy and attention that you want to because you're not thinking it in those terms. You're just getting caught up in whatever's happening around you. Finally, this is something that I have certainly I'm still trying to shift my thinking to understand the big rewards that come with delayed gratification. And so I guess this myth is more the idea that if you don't see some huge dramatic improvement overnight, that something's not worth it. That somehow incremental improvement is not as valuable as sudden and dramatic improvement. There's a saying that goes, you overestimate what you can get done in 1 year, but we underestimate what we can accomplish in 5 years. And so that's the reason I really like to have laid out 1 year and 5 year and even 10 year and just like ultimate life goals, because these are things that we're moving towards just a little bit every day. And when you look back, they're the kinds of things that you can't see where the progress is until you look back over the course of years and years. And so like I can look back at myself 5 years ago and see how far I've come from then, but if I look at myself over the course of the last year, I'm kind of like, I feel like I'm still spinning my wheels, I'm sort of in the same place. But when I contrast myself over a longer period of time, I realize, I actually have a lot more direction now than I used to. I'm so much more educated now, I really have a greater sense of purpose and drive in a specific direction. And so even though I haven't arrived yet at those places, and it's going to take more time in order to see those things come about, I can't beat myself up for the incremental improvement that I've been having, because when you first plant seeds, you can't stand there and wait for the plant to come up. You've really just got to leave and go about your business and hope that you've put everything in place in such a way that when the time comes, that plant is going to come up. And even when it first comes up, you're talking about, these little tiny seedling plants, and eventually those things have to become fruit trees, corn plants, whatever, that are going to yield a harvest that's going to support us. So the tools that we talked about last week, when it comes to these incremental improvement things, I think that this is where it's very valuable to use some other tools like a vision board or having your written goals. Look up, since I haven't done a video about it, look up SMART goals. Having written goals is so much more important than trying to hold those things again in our mind. Because for one thing, it helps us realize these long-term improvements that we need to make. And just because you can't get something done or you can't get everything that you would like to have done in this next year doesn't mean that in the next 5 to 10 years that you can't get them done. And the biggest thing that I have to remind myself all the time is that time is going to pass anyway. You can either be working towards something that really matters to you, or you can just be doing what you do every day, the things that are comfortable, the things that just are going to come at you in life and keep us busy. And if we really keep in mind that we're all going to die, memento morte, and that time is going to pass. So either spend it incrementally improving towards a big, meaningful goal, or, you can be doing more or less the same thing you are now in 5 to 10 years. And it's all really up to you. So I really hope that this video has made a difference and maybe shifted some ideas that you already had. If anyone wants to tell me more in the comments about things that they used to believe that they don't believe anymore, or maybe you hadn't really examined some of these beliefs that you held, please let me know in the comments down below. Remember to like and subscribe and share this video with friends and family that you think might find it valuable. I can't wait to talk to you guys again soon, and in the meantime, get out there and be your best human. Thanks.
All times.